Hello. It's been a while. Alright. I know I've been gone for a bit. Oh, George, where are you gone, bro? It's been like a month. So much happened. Listen. Law school is hard. I was busy. Yeah, makes sense. Alright, so first of all, before we get into today's episode, we have a few announcements I want to make. First one being Eurofront is officially gonna go weekly. So you're gonna get episodes like this every week, possibly two times a week. We'll see. So that's pretty nice. Second of all, we are now more active on the Eurofront TikTok and Instagram page. We started making daily news posts on there. If you follow it, you know. And finally, we are gonna be getting more into short form content to get these videos out there. So I guess you'll see a lot of clips sort of on our pages. So make sure to share those. Make sure to share this video as well, so we start getting some traction on this thing. Now, I've been gone for a month. A lot has happened. Realistically, I can't cover all of it in a matter of an episode. But what I can do is I can try to cover the most important part of it. We're gonna be talking about Twitter. All right. Listen, I know Twitter is quite literally the worst platform on the internet. Nothing worse. Maybe Twitch. Just the amount of the fact that these people get paid to be like bad. Right. But still, Twitter's up there with the worst platforms. Up there with Reddit and Twitch. And I could make an analysis on how the war went, what's actually happening, and we'll do that, right? We'll do it eventually. But today, we're gonna talk about the people whose opinion really, really matters, and that's people on Twitter, right? Everyone cares about Twitter people opinion. All right, so let's get into it. First crowd I want to talk about, the first little subsect of individuals, is the Antifa Palestine crowd on Twitter. I went on Twitter like I think a few hours after the war started, right? Just have a look at what's going on. How is everyone reacting? First account I get. This was a new Twitter account for me as well, so everything was new. First account I get is a Free Palestine Antifa Fuck Trump account. And what I see posted is, attention everyone, tomorrow we're meeting up at this location. We are going to be officially protesting the war in Iran. Free Iran. Khamenei did nothing wrong. What? What? What the fuck? Thing is, these people, first of all, these people are obviously mentally ill in some sort of way, right? Because these people don't have jobs. They don't have they don't have families to go here. I'm gonna put up a picture of what the average protester looks like. They don't have families. So all they do every day is realistically protest, anything Trump does, because apparently according to them he's a fascist. He's not, but okay. And posting on Twitter about how evil America is. That's what these people do, right? Which thing is, with this specific crowd of individuals, they're you have to think that they're programmed by something, because when Trump came into office, first they protested just him getting elected, then they protested Venezuela, then they protested Somalia, then they protested Gaza again, even though Gaza the ceasefire was announced. No, we still protest Gaza. Why? We don't even know. We don't even know where Gaza's on the map. We just protest for it. All right. Now we're protesting Iran, and I'm gonna make a little prediction here. Next one is gonna be Cuba. I can read these people. I'm telling you, they're so fucking predictable. So yeah, that's the first crowd I want to talk about, and kind of laugh at. I'm happy. You know what? I'm happy that they exist for the fact that they ruin the image of anyone they support. Any normal person, normal taxpayer, whenever you go out, for a walk, or maybe you're driving by and you see this crowd of people with anti-fascist flags, all screaming and shouting about something. Right? They're all fat as well. They're all fat. For some reason, probably sit indoors too much. Yeah. when you look at this, and then these people start endorsing, for example, the Democrats, they usually endorse, you realize no one's going to vote for the Democrats if they see this because it's ridiculous. So yeah, I just let them exist. I used to get really angry at these people because they don't know what they're talking about, which is true, they don't. But at the same time, I'm gonna just let them ruin the image of the Democrats for now, you know. Yeah. Now the next thing we're gonna talk about is the Iranians' reaction, both on Twitter and in real life, and I actually have a personal experience from here. And this does feed into the previous point about the Free Palestine anti-fascist crowd. Iranians, if you were aware, when Khamenei was announced to be dead, were celebrating. The ones abroad, obviously, the ones in Iran were forced to enter a mourning period. But the ones abroad were celebrating, and this is they have reason to do so. I mean, it's if you want to understand how brutal the Khamenei dictatorship was, just read into it on any website. I suggest Wikipedia Britannica. Pretty good. Right, so they were celebrating in the streets, and I have a friend who lives here in Cyprus with me. He's an Iranian. He and his family fled like years and years ago when the Khamenei regime were going through another one of their crackdowns on political dissidents. They fled to Cyprus, and the guy works here. And the first thing I did is I called him up because I wanted to see his reaction. And the guy was like, "Yeah, yeah." It's he was really happy that Khamenei died. He was over the moon. He had some concerns because it starts at the start of a war, and no one wants to see their country bombed. Obviously, you know. But regarding Khamenei's death and the fact that the regime could collapse, he was really happy. So when I showed him these tweets and these videos of these people in America, mostly like once again, it's you can imagine how these people look. They have a certain look to them. A lot of them are also teenage girls who, for some reason, are a subsect of this political subsect that appeared in the past, I guess, decade, where they really think they know what's going on. Like Stacy from California really understands what's going on in Palestine. It's yeah. When I showed them a video of the Iranians celebrating, and next to it, like on the other side of the street, there's like these anti-fascists claiming free Iran, fuck Trump. The guy said it churned his stomach. Like he said it was disgusting because while in Iran, women are fighting to take the hijab off. In America, women were wearing hijabs to protest the war in Iran. Really, I think Bill Maher said it best with every activist that goes out like that should really just go live in Iran by Sharia law, by Shia Sharia law, and see how it is. Because these people, they've been raised in white suburban neighborhoods. These people are raised with stable parents, stable financial situation. Most of them, at least. I mean, it's the U.S. So these people are these are sorority people who really don't have anything to do, so they hop on trends they understand nothing about. They kind of remind me of Billie Eilish when she said, "No one's illegal in stolen land," and you see this group of I think it was Sabrina Carpenter's almost crying and clapping. The amount of problems with that statement is immeasurable. Like it's a whole, I might make like a short form content on it, but everyone's kind of bombed it into the ground. Yeah, but it's when people like this appear who just want to get trendy and think they have the moral high ground and a moral posture over everyone. It gets really annoying. Like every time I hear someone say "Free Palestine" in an unrelated conversation, it's just why you don't even know what's going on there. Why free most of you get my point. It's ridiculous, right? So we talked about this. I think that's pretty important that I actually managed to have a source for everything I say. My Iranian friend, I thanks to him a lot for helping me out with this. Now, we're gonna talk about someone I really don't like. We're gonna talk about Greta Thunberg. Now, a quick Google search on Greta Thunberg will give you that she is simply a Swedish climate activist. That's it. Right? But They might also give you a sob story. That's not what she is. Let me put this very simply what Greta Thunberg is. Greta Thunberg is a product. She is a product of radical climate activism. She's a product of climate activist political parties. And she's a product of the large corporations that fund said parties and said activists. Right? She is not a innocent girl who fights for climate activism. She is the face of modern European climate activism, and she is a face that has shown that she will go to any means to achieve her ends, which also includes committing crimes. Greta Thunberg has on multiple occasions been arrested in several European countries for disturbance of the public good and sabotaging local and domestic businesses. The most famous example of this being when she sabotaged a Norwegian oil refinery. So at best, she can be called a public disturbance, but at worst, she's a domestic terrorist. Let's be honest.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean.
Now, Greta has been very silent, very quiet over the past few months, ever since she got arrested in Israel when she tried to cross into Gaza, where she would have most likely been taken hostage and killed for not wearing a hijab or just, being a Westerner. Uh, she's been very quiet since then. And she was also very quiet during the killing of 40,000 Iranian protesters in January this year. Fair. However, once the war started, she made a post on her Instagram story and on Twitter stating, over 1,000 people have died in this conflict already. Let me tell you what the problem here is, right? This is favoritism, right? Favoritism exists everywhere, yeah. Favoritism exists in a workplace, for example, where a boss has a favorite employee, right? Who kisses up to the boss. Makes sense. But the issue when you're a climate activist and when you're trying to morally stand above everyone else and be the moral beacon to society, is that when you have favoritism towards human life, it kind of defeats your whole idea. She was quiet over the Nigerian genocide, over the Congo genocide, over the Sudan genocide. Nothing. When Gaza happened, she spoke. Now, when Iran happened, she spoke. Why did she not speak when the Iranians were getting killed, brutally put down in the streets of Tehran, for example? Right? This is hypocrisy. This is blatant hypocrisy, and as I said before, favoritism towards specific human life that pushes your ideology. And that's disgusting. The fact that this person is a moral beacon for someone is disgusting. And if she is a moral beacon to you, I'd really suggest you rethink your stance on morality in this world. Right. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is the Epstein files. No, we're not going to talk about the actual Epstein files because that's a 6-hour documentary and even that won't do it justice. But I will tell you this, what I found on Twitter. I found people, when the war started, posting, don't let this distract you from the Epstein files, or this is a hell of a distraction from the Epstein files. And I thought, funny joke, funny. No, these people aren't joking. These people genuinely believe that the war between Iran and the US was done as a distraction from the Epstein files. Let me be very clear here. You know how you have the Nick Fuentes speech of, oh, it's really complicated. No, it fucking isn't. Well, guess what? Yes, it is. Geopolitics is complicated, right? It's literal fucking rocket science, yes. So if you can't understand why something is happening or don't have the mental capacity to look into it and research why this conflict was coming. And this conflict was coming a long, long time. We've seen signs of it ever since Trump was put into office. If you can't understand this and you need to dumb it down for yourself, so you just say, "Oh, he just distracted everyone from the Epstein files," please don't post it online because you look retarded. You appear to me and to normal people as a retard, right? Simple as. Now, regarding the Epstein files, why I don't feel like I need to explain why this isn't a distraction from the Epstein files. I mean, we talked all of last episode. We talked why this actually happened, like the Iran war, and despite how it's going now, and despite the ceasefire, what the objectives were. The objectives were different. There was many objectives that existed, many factors built up to it. But to anyone who's watching this and still doubts, like, maybe it is a distraction from the Epstein files. Let me put it this way: nothing changed after the release of the Epstein files. Nothing. People like Bill Gates with Microsoft, people like Elon Musk with Tesla, people continue to buy their stuff. People continue to purchase and consume what they offer, right? Their businesses won't get harmed, that's for sure. They're too big to boycott, and boycott culture is stupid in general, right? But also legally, nothing is going to happen to these people, right? Prince Andrew is an exception. Prince Andrew is not getting indicted, and he's not getting arrested for his relation with Mr. Epstein. No, he's getting arrested because he leaked classified UK information to Epstein and sold it to him, basically. That's why he's getting arrested. He's not actually getting arrested for any crimes related to Mr. Epstein. Yeah. These people, when they reach this level of power, connection, and money, they don't care. They operate above the legal system. And people can cry about it and say, "Oh, that's not good." Yeah, it's not good, but that's how it's always been. Powerful people with connections and money have always operated above the legal system, and nothing has changed in the 21st century. These people will not get any repercussions for what they did, right? Someone like Bill Gates is not going to go to prison, or Bill Clinton, an ex-president, or Trump, right? So the very idea that someone like Trump, who's the president of the strongest country in the world up until this point, actually needs to distract you from the Epstein files is ridiculous. As a matter of fact, let's do a quick experiment. We're going to do a quick thought experiment. Let's say you are a prosecutor and you are working with an FBI investigator to try to get Mr. Clinton in a jail cell for what he did. Let's say you start a case. The FBI starts a case, and they start working for it. They start gathering information, gathering intelligence, right? And you think, it takes a while. It's such a big profile case, maybe 10 years for it to go to court. Then you wait a year, you wait another year. You check on the progress. There's no progress because files are disappearing. People aren't getting the clearance they need to investigate certain things, and people aren't getting through the administrative ladder. And you're like, this is weird. Like, why is it happening? Because these people have people working for them everywhere. You think an ex-president doesn't know what happens in the Bureau of Investigation in the FBI? You really think that? Of course he knows what's going on. And he has the necessary people in place to prevent the investigation from going any further. However, let's say magically you manage to push the investigation through and you get a case against Mr. Clinton. What do you think is going to happen next? You really think the judge is going to sentence him to an actual serious sentence? No. Now, we all know the Diddy trial, what happened in it, and how everyone was claiming how this is a massive failure of the justice system, which it is. But at the same time, it's expected. The man has a lot of power, right? And he's just a rapper. Imagine what happens when you try to incarcerate a previous president of the fucking United States. Nothing is gonna happen to him. Like a slap on the wrist, a $500 fine. That's it. Not these people don't need to distract you from the Epstein files. They're too powerful. They're too busy with their other stuff. Like while you're trying to survive, they're playing 5D chess. That's the difference between them and you right now. So no, Mr. Twitter user that says this is a distraction from the Epstein files. It's not. And anyone who believed it before, I hope you don't now. Right? I think we're done. Now, last thing I want to talk about today is President Trump's posts on Truth. Trump mainly posts on his own platform called Truth Social, which is basically his version of Twitter that he made after, losing the election and crashing out. I'm going to read you a number of his Truth posts from the March 1st, start of the war, till today, April 10th, so till the ceasefire. And when I read all this, I want you to remember that this is a president of the United States, the current president, right? Let's set a timer. Ready, set, go. March 1st, Trump announces Khamenei's death, the start of the war, and claims that Iran will be hit harder than ever before. Then he makes a post about destroying the Iranian Navy. On March 6th, he made a post claiming that he will accept nothing but unconditional surrender from Iran, right? Then claiming that he will make Iran great again. On March 7th, he'll make a post claiming Iran apologized to its Middle Eastern neighbors, which it did, but also claiming that Iran surrendered. It didn't. After which, he would also make a post criticizing the UK's lack of naval support and saying he's already won the war. On March 9th, he'd make a post claiming that Iran's nuclear capabilities were destroyed. On March 10th, he'd make a post requesting Iran to stop mining the Strait of Hormuz and claiming that if Iran blockaded the strait, they would be hit 20 times harder. From March 10th to March 14th, he made a number of posts claiming that he had completely decimated Iran while requesting other countries to help him reopen the strait. Then on March 17th, he made a post complaining NATO wasn't helping him enough with the war. And then on March 18th, he made a claim that he would finish Iran off. On March 19th, he made a claim that the US was not involved in the attacks on the Fars region that were mainly done by Israel. On March 20th, he would claim NATO was a paper tiger and cowards, after which he made a post claiming that the US was considering withdrawing from the operation in the region. Then he'd make another post on March 22nd claiming the US had met all its military objectives, but also claiming that if the Strait of Hormuz wasn't reopened, he would destroy all of the Iranian power grid. On March 23rd, he made a claim that the US was negotiating a ceasefire and once again criticized NATO for not helping him defeat an already militarily decimated Iran. Then he'd also make a post on 26th claiming that Iran was begging for a ceasefire. He would also make a post giving Iran a 10-day period to agree to a ceasefire. And then on March 27th, Kanye would drop Bully, one of his greatest albums. On April 7th, Trump finally crashed out and made a post telling Iran to open the fucking strait, praising Allah, and claiming an entire civilization would die if a deal wasn't reached. After which both sides finally negotiated a ceasefire, and on April 9th, Trump posted a AI picture of himself with Joe Rogan at the White House being sponsored by an online fucking gambling site. This can't be real. I think I don't agree with Macron on everything, President of France, but I would say one thing that he said correct. When Trump was going on this posting spree, where he'd post like 10 things a day about the Iran war, Macron would say, please do less talking and more work. And I agree with that. I agree with that. Okay, look, I just realized that it's actually Dana White, not Joe Rogan, but these guys look fucking identical. Have a look. They're literally the same person. Alright, so I think we'll end it for today. I think we covered some important things. In the next episode, we'll probably be covering the ceasefire, if the ceasefire holds, and how this affects the US. And, I'm going to debunk some opinions that I've been hearing online. And that's about it. I hope you have a great day. Remember, folks, stay safe and stay close to your loved ones. Have a great day.